Welcome to the first video in the How to Plan Zero Waste Events online course. I'm so excited you're taking this step to educate yourself and work toward reducing waste in the events industry. This first video will serve as an introduction and let you know what we're going to be covering in this course. As an event professional, you've seen the problem of event waste firsthand. You've seen disposable products, leftover food, outdated swag, and more get thrown away after events. And you felt bad about it, but something was always standing in your way of rescuing those resources, whether it was lack of time, lack of staff, or lack of the right system in place. In this course, we're going to cover the practical steps to take to remove the barriers to responsible waste management. If you've never measured the waste from your events before, you might be surprised by just how much waste is generated. I've personally worked a reception that generated more than 3,000 pounds of waste in 4 hours. For measurements I've tracked at real events, I've found that events that provide just a single meal can generate from half a pound to almost 2 pounds of waste per attendee. Depending on the size of your guest list and the length of your event, you could easily generate multiple tons of waste from a single event. Without a zero-waste planning philosophy, much of that waste will unnecessarily end up in the landfill, and a significant amount of that waste was likely avoidable in the first place. When you think about the volume of waste in tons, it can start to feel overwhelming, or even impossible to make a dent. But you're here because you want to do your part and follow best practices to create a more sustainable events industry. And I want you to know that it is possible, and we're going to do it together. In this course, we're going to cover the zero-waste event planning process. This process can be applied to any type of event, from weddings to festivals to corporate meetings to conventions. By following this process, you'll divert a significant amount of waste from the landfill and be equipped to aim for the zero-waste goal. You'll also create a guilt-free guest experience that your attendees will be proud to have participated in. And you'll have real results to share with stakeholders and the community for positive PR recognition. When you think about the barriers you face to reducing event waste, like lack of time or staff or opportunity, the root issue is the lack of a plan. Waste management rarely receives any focused energy during the event planning process. So when valuable resources are identified in the waste stream, there's no process in place to recover them for reuse, donation, or recycling. You miss opportunities even if you have good intentions. So in this course, you'll learn how to plan for the appropriate resources to be available and the right processes to be in place to reduce and divert waste away from the landfill and the incinerator. This process is proven to be successful. By implementing this process at real events, I've achieved dramatic results. A 92% waste diversion rate at a nonprofit fundraiser, a 92.5% waste diversion rate at a nonprofit banquet, 85.6% waste diversion at a food festival, and 85% waste diversion at a conference food truck lunch. According to the latest data available from the EPA, in 2015, the rate of recycling in the U.S. was only 34.7%, and that includes composting. By following the process you'll learn in this course, you'll achieve a dramatically higher rate of waste diversion than the national average and be able to share the success with stakeholders and the public. Before we dive into the process in the next segments, first I want to define what I mean by zero waste planning process. According to the Zero Waste International Alliance, or ZWIA, the threshold for zero waste is for at least 90% of solid waste to be diverted from landfills and incinerators. ZWIA also has other criteria related to generating less waste overall and avoiding things like pollution and toxicity. You can see the full list of zero waste criteria at zwia.org. I use the phrase zero waste planning process for the approach I use when attempting to achieve a 90% waste diversion rate, and this is the process I will be teaching you during this course. It's important not to describe an event as being zero waste until after you have calculated your waste diversion results. Remember, an event can only be described as zero waste if it achieves a diversion rate of 90% or higher. This course will focus specifically on how to reduce event waste and how to divert waste away from landfills and incinerators. I encourage you to check out zwia.org for a list of other considerations to keep in mind when attempting to plan a fully zero waste event. With that, we're ready to dive in. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you in the next segment.